There comes a moment in every woman's journey when life begins to feel like a closet that's too full. At first, everything inside that closet has a story. That old dress reminds you of a happy season. That pair of shoes once carried you through an important chapter. That jacket was given to you by someone you cared for. But one day, you notice you can't hang anything new because the closet is packed with what no longer serves you. That's exactly what God does with your destiny. He starts clearing space. When God is about to bless a woman with something big, He doesn't just hand her the gift and walk away. He first makes sure she has the space to receive it, and that means removing what is no longer aligned with her future. Sometimes this happens in ways we can see: a job ending, a relationship fading, a project collapsing. Sometimes it happens in ways we can't understand. A door we prayed for suddenly slams shut. A plan we worked hard for gets cancelled. A friend we thought would be by our side quietly drifts away. At first, it feels painful. It feels unfair. You might even ask, God, why are you taking this away from me when it means so much? But what you don't see in that moment is that God is not just taking something from you. He is protecting you from what will hold you back. He is removing the weight that would slow you down in your next season. Think of a tree. In the early stages of growth, the branches spread out in all directions. But when a gardener sees a branch that is unhealthy, too heavy, or not producing fruit, he doesn't leave it there for sentimental reasons. He cuts it off, not because he hates the tree, but because he loves it enough to make it healthier. Every cut is intentional. Every removal is for a reason. In the same way, every person, opportunity, or situation God removes from your life is part of a divine pruning process. Sometimes God will even remove good things, not just bad ones. And that's the part that confuses us the most, because we understand when toxic things leave. We can accept when harmful people go. But when it's something we considered good, something we enjoyed, something we worked hard for, that's when the removal feels like punishment. But remember this, not every good thing is a God thing for your future. Something can be good for your present and still not be meant for your next chapter. I once met a woman who shared her story with me. She had worked at the same company for 12 years. She loved her team, knew her role inside and out, and felt secure. But suddenly, due to restructuring, she lost her job. She was devastated. She couldn't understand why God would allow such a thing, especially when she was loyal and hardworking. For months, she struggled, applying for roles, getting rejected, feeling the sting of disappointment. But then, one unexpected opportunity came. A leadership role in a completely different industry, something she had never imagined for herself. Not only did it pay more, but it also allowed her to travel, heal the world, use her gifts in new ways, and meet people who would later become mentors and lifelong friends. She told me, if I had stayed in my old job, I would have never discovered who I could become. That's the thing. Sometimes God has to disrupt your comfort zone to prepare you for your growth zone. He removes what you think you need so you can receive what you truly need. So if you find yourself in a season where people are leaving, opportunities are closing, or plans are falling apart, don't rush to panic. Instead, pause and consider, could this be God making space for something greater? Because blessings don't live in crowded spaces. They need room to breathe, to grow, to expand. And here's the beautiful truth. What God removes is always less than what He replaces it with. The loss may feel heavy now, but the gain will outweigh it in ways you can't yet imagine. That friend you lost might make space for a connection that changes your destiny. That opportunity that slipped away might open the door to something you never dreamed was possible. You may not see it yet, but God's hands are not empty. If He's taking something from you, it's because He's already holding something better. Trust the process. Trust the pruning. Trust the removal. Because when God clears your life, He's not leaving you bare. He's making you ready. And one day, when you look back, you'll see that what you thought was the breaking of your life was actually the making of your life. There is a moment in life when everything around you looks fine, yet deep inside, you know you cannot stay where you are. Your home is the same, your friends are the same, your work is the same, but something in your spirit starts whispering, this is not all there is for you. You can't explain it to anyone. You might not even fully understand it yourself. That is the holy restlessness that God places in a woman's heart when her time for change has come. It's not dissatisfaction in the negative sense. It's not about being ungrateful. It's the gentle but persistent pull of heaven saying, you were not created to remain here forever. It's time to grow. Think about a baby bird in a nest. At first, the nest is warm, comfortable, and safe. The mother bird brings food, protects it from danger, and covers it with her wings. But one day, the chick begins to feel crowded. The nest that once felt perfect now feels too small. That's not a sign that something is wrong. It's a sign that the wings have grown and it's time to fly. That's exactly how God works in a woman's life. The place that once brought you joy might suddenly feel too tight for your dreams. The work that once inspired you might feel like it no longer challenges you. The conversations that once filled you might now feel empty. You haven't lost passion. Your passion has outgrown its current container. I once spoke to a woman who had lived in the same small town for years. She loved her family and community, but deep inside, she began to feel a persistent stirring. She would see opportunities online in other cities and feel her heart leap. She'd imagine herself meeting new people, working in new environments, and experiencing more of the world. For a while, she tried to ignore it, convincing herself that she was being unrealistic. But the stirring wouldn't stop. It became stronger each day until she finally prayed and asked God for clarity. Within months, a job offer came from a company in another city, one she hadn't even applied to directly. That move became the turning point of her life. This is what holy restlessness does. It wakes you up. It refuses to let you settle for comfort when you're called to greatness. It keeps you up at night, not in fear, but in anticipation. You might find yourself daydreaming about new possibilities, feeling drawn to new skills, or imagining yourself in a life that feels bigger than your current reality. But here's the challenge: when God stirs this restlessness, the temptation is to ignore it, because moving forward means stepping into the unknown. The human heart clings to safety. We tell ourselves, I should be happy with what I have. And yes, gratitude is important, but so is obedience to the calling on your life. Gratitude doesn't mean staying in the same place forever. It means appreciating what was, while still making space for what's next. A holy restlessness is like the change of seasons. Imagine standing in late summer. The sun is still shining, the days are warm, but you can feel that hint of autumn in the breeze. The leaves haven't changed yet, but you know they will. That's how God signals the shift in your life. Before you see the full transformation, you feel it in your spirit. Sometimes this restlessness is triggered by events: a conversation that sparks a new idea, a challenge that makes you realize you're capable of more, a moment of quiet when you see yourself differently. Other times, it simply grows gradually until you can't ignore it anymore. The mistake many people make is thinking this restlessness is a problem to fix, but it's actually a compass to follow. It's God's way of moving you from the land of enough to the land of abundance. One woman told me she used to work in a comfortable corporate job. She earned well, had great benefits, and everyone thought she was set for life. But she started feeling an urge to do something more creative, something that allowed her to serve people in a personal way. At first, she thought it was just boredom, but over time, the stirring grew stronger. She began painting again in her free time, something she loved as a child. Eventually, she took the leap and opened her own small art studio. Today, she says the restlessness she once feared was the greatest blessing she ever received, because it pushed her into her true purpose. That's the thing about holy restlessness. It's not meant to frustrate you. It's meant to free you. It's the signal that your spirit is outgrowing your surroundings. God knows you need a bigger space to carry the blessing He's preparing, so He gently, persistently nudges you until you move. So if you feel that stirring right now, if you're in a season where you can't shake the feeling that there's more, don't dismiss it. Don't silence it. Listen to it. Pray on it. Lean into it. Because that inner shift is not random. It's a divine invitation. God is saying to you, daughter, your next chapter is waiting. But first, you must leave the chapter you're in. And when you finally obey that pull, you look back and realize the restlessness wasn't discomfort. It was destiny calling your name. Pressure is something we often run from. But in God's design, pressure is rarely the enemy. It is the tool. When God is preparing a woman for something extraordinary, He doesn't place her in a life of ease. Instead, He places her in situations that stretch her, challenge her, and force her to grow stronger than she ever thought possible. Think about a diamond. In its raw form, it's just a piece of carbon, ordinary, overlooked, and unremarkable. But when that carbon is buried deep within the earth and subjected to intense heat and crushing pressure, over time, it transforms into something priceless. Without the pressure, the diamond would never exist. That's exactly how God works with your life. You may be wondering why you're under so much strain right now. Why responsibilities are heavy, why challenges seem unending, why the weight on your shoulders feels almost too much to carry. But what if that very weight is the proof that God is building your capacity to handle what's coming? I once met a woman who started her career as a small business owner. At the beginning, she faced so many setbacks that she almost quit. Suppliers failed her, customers complained, bills piled up. She told me, "Every time I thought I couldn't take another problem, another one came." But she stayed. She adapted. She learned to manage stress, solve problems quickly, and lead under pressure. Years later, when her business expanded into multiple locations, she realized that the strength she had in that new season didn't just appear. It had been forged in the fires of her earlier struggles. Without those challenges, she would never have been ready for the bigger responsibilities. This is why God allows pressure, not to crush you, but to prepare you. If He gave you the blessing before you had the strength to carry it, you might drop it or misuse it. So instead, He trains you in advance. Pressure also reveals what's inside you. When life squeezes you, whatever is truly within you comes out. Fear or faith, doubt or determination, bitterness or resilience. God uses pressure to show you your strengths and expose the areas that need growth. A woman who has walked through storms learns not to fear the rain. She becomes unshakable because she's already faced winds that tried to break her. Imagine an athlete preparing for a major competition. They don't train in comfort. They train with resistance, lifting heavier weights, running longer distances, enduring tougher workouts. Why? Because only resistance builds strength. In the same way, your life's pressure is resistance training for your destiny. The heavier the weight now, the greater your capacity later. One of the most powerful truths about pressure is that it changes your perspective. In seasons of ease, we often take blessings for granted, but when you've had to fight for your breakthrough, you value it differently. You don't waste it. You protect it. You nurture it. You grow it. And you become more compassionate toward others walking through their own struggles. I remember another story of a woman who dreamed of being a public speaker. But when her big opportunity came, it was in front of a small, disinterested crowd at a community center. At first, she felt discouraged, but she decided to treat it like a test. She poured her whole heart into that speech as if she were speaking to thousands. Over time, she kept getting similar small, difficult opportunities. Each one felt like pressure. Each one forced her to refine her message, connect with people who were hard to reach, and keep going even when applause was minimal. Years later, she stood on a massive stage in front of an international audience and realized that those small, difficult moments were exactly what built her into the woman who could handle the big moment without fear. So, if you're in a season of intense pressure right now, don't let it convince you that you're failing. See it for what it is. God's training ground. He is stretching your patience so you can handle delays without losing faith. He is building your endurance so you can keep going when others give up. He is strengthening your emotional capacity so you can carry more responsibility without breaking. Pressure is also a purifier. Just as gold is refined by fire, your character is refined by life's challenges. You become more disciplined, more humble, more resilient, and more grateful. And those qualities are not just for your benefit. They are what will keep you standing when you reach higher ground. One day, you'll look back at the season you're in now